So this is how easy it is. Just pop that, step back, and you got, hello, a gull wing door. I'm seeing all of these similarities between cars, so let's open the other side. Look how pretty it is out today. LA, baby, that's where I am, on a helipad in LA. What's up, guys? It's Supercar Blondie, and I'm going to show you something super, super cool. Okay, I'm not in LA. Well, I am in LA, but I'm actually in a studio. Look at this. Look at this. This is so cool. So this is where a massive event is about to happen. It's all about to go down for something super special right here. This is the future of transport. It's called the Maker by Archer. Check this out. Now let's get into this. You might be thinking, what in the world is this? This is a fully electric plane that actually takes off vertically and lands vertically. So when I first saw this, I thought, okay, so some people are going to buy this for themselves, pop it in their backyards, use it as like a helicopter. No, that is not the purpose of this. What they're doing is they're creating a whole new network for mass transportation. So people like you and me, we're going to be riding around in this baby in the future instead of cars. So I think, is my channel dead? I'm switching to planes. I follow my new channel, Super Plane Blondie. All right, now let me just show you what is actually going on here. A lot of us are spending way too much time in traffic today, right? Especially in LA, especially in these really crowded suburban areas. So what they're going to do is they're going to have helipads just like this. It fits on a helipad or on the top of car parks. Lots of different areas around the city where you can actually get into this, and instead of driving an hour to get to your destination, it will only take about 10 minutes instead. So 10 minutes is a massive difference. Now also you might be thinking, well, it's probably going to be really expensive. No, I was like, how can you keep the cost so low? So per mile it's going to be about $3 to $4. So an hour-long trip in a car is going to cost you about $30 to $40 in this plane. So it's actually going to cost you less than getting in an Uber to your destination for an hour. And that is kind of crazy. We're actually going to be speaking to the founders in this video so I can ask them all of those questions. So you've got 6 rotors here in the front. You see this? And you can see that they actually are designed to move. So at the moment they're facing up, and that is for takeoff. So they'll face up to take off. It'll take about 30 seconds. And then once you're in the air, these rotors will actually tip forward. So the plane is being driven forward by these rotors. So these things move, which is super cool. Now on the back, you've got another 6 rotors, and these ones always stay upright here all along the wingspan. Now, what is super cool about this is, because I know a lot of you will be thinking, well, what's the difference between this and a helicopter? Because I had the same questions. This has a lot of differences, and I'm going to explain a few of them, but one of the main ones is the sound reduction. If you hear a helicopter, you can literally hear a helicopter approaching from miles away. They're really, really noisy. This right here is 100 times quieter than a helicopter. Why? Because you've got one massive rotor on a helicopter right at the top, and the edges of the rotor swing so fast that they're actually almost breaking the sound barrier. So that's when you get the whoop, 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 whoop sound that you can hear from miles away. This right here...
Sorry, how does it go?
Whoop, 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 whoop. Kind of sounds like a helicopter. Okay, this right here, you've actually got much smaller blades, and you've got 12 of them, so it actually makes the sound much, much less noisy than a helicopter. So that's one of the main things going for this, as opposed to a helicopter. The other thing, of course, is you've got motors, electric motors, not engines. So that's going to be intrinsically actually just quieter than an engine, right? This right here, it has 0 points of failure. I was like, what? What does that actually mean? They said, okay, so in a helicopter, you have about 200 to 300 points of failure. If one of those things goes wrong, that's it, you're going down. With this, pretty much everything can fail, and you're still going to land safely. That is kind of crazy because these are all independent motors. So if you lose 1, 2, 3, 4, the chances of that happening would be so small. But if it did happen, because it has a wing, you can still glide down to safety. This is also built for like mini exploration trips. So you can go to places that, for example, never even had roads built to them. You can land literally anywhere. New desert locations, just remote areas basically that you never would have been able to get to by car, or it would take too long to get there. Now, should we have a look inside? This is quite cool. This one here is actually autonomous. So this is how easy it is. Just pop that, step back, and you got, a gull wing door. I'm seeing all of these similarities between cars. So let's open the other side. Who doesn't love a gull wing? Look at that. How cool does that look? Come on. This just looks cool, doesn't it? This one is the first one they've built. It actually seats 2 passengers, but when it comes to market, what they're gonna do is they're gonna have a piloted version. So the pilot will sit up the front here, and then you'll have 4 passengers in the back. This right here can actually fly autonomously. It does not need a pilot, but because of regulations at this point, they're not allowed to launch this version. You've got this beautiful 180 view because you can see all the way through this window, all the way up here, all the way out here. So you've got this cool screen here, and this will just show some basics because of course you don't really need to know that much. It's taking you on your journey from A to B. You just sit back and let the maker do its thing. You'll just have like the current trip, where you're going, how long it will take to get there, maybe the altitude, the temperature, that's it, the speed, and boom. There's really not much else you need in here. You've got some cup holders, of course, to take your coffee with you. And back here I said, ooh, what's gonna be in there? He was like, well, not sure yet. I said, well, it should be champagne. Just like a Rolls Royce, Rolls Royce compartment. You lift this out, you got champagne and some flutes, and off you go. Champagne would be more expensive than the trip. If you bought a champagne bottle, that'd be twice as much as you paying for a seat in this baby. That is absolutely insane. All right, there are some things that I can't explain. So I'm gonna get the co-founders in right now. Brett and Adam, come on over, guys. These are the co-founders of this beauty right here. This is insane.
Thanks for coming.
I love how cool you guys made it as well, because you could have just made like an aircraft that looks like meh. Do you know what I mean? But you guys are like, let's make it badass. And I love that, like with the gull wing doors and everything. Yeah. Was that just a design? But this is not for function, right? This is just, let's make it look really cool.
Gull-wing doors are the coolest kind of doors.
Yeah. I have to agree with you there, 100%. So, okay, the one thing that I think a lot of you are asking right now, because I was asking the same thing, is how on earth can you make a trip so cheap in a plane that looks so badass?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the first thing here, we're building a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, so it'll take off a lot like a helicopter vertically without the need for runway. And what's really important to us is to drive down the cost for the masses. So every person can take this.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is very much different than a helicopter. So a lot of folks will say, helicopters are really expensive. Will this be expensive too to operate?
Exactly.
So we have 70 to 80% less parts than a helicopter. We have no critical components that could fail, have a catastrophic event on the aircraft. Those require a lot of maintenance.
Yes.
Maintenance is the biggest cost for a helicopter every single day.
Right.
We have no fuel costs because we're charging very affordably. And then we're going to utilize these across the network so we can get a lot of trips in per day.
Yeah.
It helps drive down the costs.
Yeah.
And also we have some great manufacturing work we're doing to help manufacture these at scale. Ultimately to have economies of scale to help drive down costs over time.
So when you guys first launch, because if you just had the one of this, or 1 or 2, maybe 3, you can never offer a ticket for $30 to $40 for a trip. How many are you actually going to launch with for that to be even feasible to charge that much?
Right, well, we're thinking about the entire network, right? So we're building our manufacturing capabilities to be able to support a large launch. Year one, when we launch in 2024, the goal will be getting through the certification process. Yeah. And as we start to expand into 2025, our goal is to have 200 to 300 planes launch that year. 200
to 300 planes launching in 1 year. That's incredible. And you guys are launching in LA, where we are right now, and in Miami. So are those 200 to 300 planes across those 2 locations?
That's absolutely right. 2 great cities for us. We announced this year, LA and Miami, fraught with traffic problems, a lot of existing real estate for us to land on. helipads and rooftops.
Yeah,
and
so you
parking
guys
garages.
can actually, because it looks quite wide, but you guys can actually just land on a helipad anywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we're basically designing to land on any conventional helipad. So,
Yeah.
which generally means we have to have a wingspan less than 50 foot
Yeah.
in order to fit into a landing site like that.
Yeah.
The good news is that we can land on existing helipads at airports, but also retrofitting parking garage and
Yes.
land parcels and rooftops.
Because there are a lot of rooftops that aren't being utilized at this point, right? They're just literally rooftops, that's it. And so you guys can actually retrofit it somehow with a charging station or like, you know, what else do you need actually?
It's actually quite easy. So one is the top level of the parking garage
Yeah.
is the most underutilized part of that parking garage,
Right.
right? You don't park on the top
No.
where it gets hot, you park down below.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of parking garages out there that are already centrally located
Yeah.
that want to work with us.
Right.
And all we really need to do is likely retrofit those with charging infrastructure.
Okay.
So think like a Tesla supercharger, right?
Yes.
So the capability to be able to plug in and then take off again. And as Brett said, you know, these vehicles are actually not that big, right? Within a 50-foot diameter, and they weigh less than 6,000 pounds.
Yeah, this is quite interesting because you look at this and you go, well, this thing, first of all, it's full of batteries. It's fully electric, and we know batteries can weigh quite a lot, and that's been the struggle up until now to create a fully electric plane is because the batteries are so heavy. But this is quite interesting that this only weighs about the same as a Tesla Model X. So it's like parking a car. That's it.
I mean, listen, we've had to solve some really hard engineering problems to get here. One is weight. Like, how do we get
Yeah.
as many batteries on board as
Yeah.
possible? The good news is that we've had a couple decades of battery energy density improvements,
Yeah.
which means we can fit more energy in a battery pack for less weight than we ever could have before,
Yeah.
which also helps. Second is, the entire airframe you're seeing here was made out of carbon fiber composite.
Okay.
And so it's 5 times stronger than steel for the same amount of weight. So basically means we can design an aircraft with a lot lower weight, maximize the amount of batteries, make sure there's enough area for luggage, people, pilot,
Yep.
all the right things in here to make this work today.
Yeah.
And so with this aircraft you're seeing now, we'll start test flights this year. It can do up to 60 miles
Yes.
at 150 miles an hour. That's the worst case. It's end of life on the battery with emergency reserves.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as battery gets better, we'll be able to go further and do flights for cheaper.
Yeah, so the batteries you guys are in here, you guys said they're just sitting in this area behind the seats.
Yeah, so they're right behind, there's a bulkhead here behind the passengers.
Yeah.
And there's basically a 1,000-pound battery pack here. It's about 75 kilowatt hours. That powers the aircraft for both takeoff and landing, which is basically a high power mission.
Yeah.
And then ultimately cruise flight, which ultimately takes a lot less power.
Yes.
So you have this really long, 40-foot high aspect ratio wing.
Yeah.
Helps reduce power.
I came today just going, what is this thing going to be? And I'm surprised that it's going to be a mass movement. I thought, okay, it'll be for a few select individuals to get around the city. That is not what these guys are aiming for. They want to really reduce congestion, and that's good news for everyone. I know where I live in Dubai, there are certain times of the day where you just do not want to be driving to a specific location. You get into one of these. So what would happen is initially you would take your car to wherever the closest car park is or helipad, whatever it is, get in one of these, and then as you guys create more of a network, there'll be way more of these landing pads, and you could even have one like, I don't know, a few meters away from your house at sunset. You might think, okay, well, this is a bit gimmicky, will we ever see it? Yes, we are going to see it. I have a massive congratulations to give to you guys because United Airlines have bought how many of these already? 200? 200 of these United Airlines has already purchased. So we're going to see at least 200 of these in the very near future. That's incredible. That's really incredible, guys. Well done. That's amazing. So when do we see this?
In 2024, we will bring these planes to market.
2024, get it in your diaries. Purchase a diary 3 years in advance for 2024. Write it in there. Can I get in one of the first? That would be unbelievable.
Absolutely.
All right, subscribe to the channel so you can see one of the very first flights of the Maker by Archer. That was awesome. Guys, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I can't wait to see this actually going.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
there
much.
you go, guys. What do you reckon? Are you excited? I'm excited. I can't wait to get in one of these. They are getting all the approvals that they need to actually bring this to market in 2024, like in 3 years, which is crazy. All right, guys, make sure you like the vid, subscribe to the channel, and we're going to see you on the next vid somewhere else in the world. I love you guys. Bye. We're out.